What's up, Rich Squad? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dominic Rich, and it's day 2 of the 2019 Copa America. And in this video, I'll be bringing you fixtures from Group A and Group B. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So, Venezuela versus Peru in the opening match of the 2019 Copa America. They are part of Group A alongside Brazil and Bolivia, who played yesterday, and Brazil were 3-0 winners in that game. We had Philip Coutinho scoring twice and Everton coming on for a really good cameo to score his first ever international goal. I do think so. Yeah, I think so. But he was brilliant. He was brilliant. And Peru and Venezuela got their work cut out for them in this group. So let's talk about their fixture. 0-0. It ended in a 0-0 draw, and I predicted a 2-1 win for Peru here, but it blew up in my face. It really did. It really did. Peru were not that good. They weren't that good. You have to give credit for this Venezuelan team, who are going to be very, very happy with this point. Very happy, because they went into this match as the least favorite to come out as winners. In 36 appearances, Venezuela has only beat Peru on 8 occasions, with Peru winning 21 games and 7 matches ending in draws, including the one today. The turnout for the fixture wasn't really good. I was very disappointed in the turnout. Behind the goalkeepers, there was a good crowd, but around the stadium, it was very scanty. And I think the Brazilian people need to come out. The people of South America need to come out and support their teams. The crowd was very poor. Very poor. So in this match, Dudamel, the coach of Venezuela, chose to go with a 4-1-4-1 formation with Farinez in goal, Chancellor and Villanueva as center backs. We had Mago as the left back, Rosales right back. In the middle of the field, we had Moreno, Herrera and Thomas Rincon, and on the wings we had Johan Murillo, who was quite impressive. I really like the look of him. And we had Savarino. Up top we had Salomon Rondon. For Ricardo Gareca, he chose to go with a 4-1-4-1 formation as well, according to the source I'm reading from. And in goal we had Pedro Gallesi, Luis Advincula at right back, left back Troco, and the center backs being Abram and Zambrano. In the middle of the field, Renato Tapia, who was quite impressive today. We had Gonzalez, who scored a goal that was ruled out by VAR. Yoshimar Yutun, who was one of the best players today for Peru. And Christian Cueva, who had to go off injured with a head injury. He was replaced by Flores. Jefferson Farfan was very lively today. And Paulo Guerrero was his usual self. Very feisty and threatening. So let's talk about the game. Venezuela 0, Peru 0. Venezuela will be the happier of the two teams with this result, because they came into this fixture as the underdogs. I predicted a 2-1 win for Peru, and it didn't happen. We didn't have a single goal in the game. A couple balls went in the back of the net, but VAR ruled them out. Early on in the game, Mago committed a foul and picked up an early yellow card around the 6th minute, and the resulting free kick by Yoshimar Yutun ended up in the back of the net when the keeper, Wilkin Farinez, came off his line, collided with the attacker. The ball ricocheted, bounced to Gonzalez, who put it in the back of the net. He celebrated, but when the referee reviewed the goal, it was deemed to be a foul on the goalkeeper, so it was overturned. Right then and there, Peru thought they were 1-0 up and they could approach the game differently, but they had to go back to square one. And that's what I don't like about VAR. It took about 5 to 6 minutes to clear things up before the match continued. With Peru bossing like the first 15 to 20 minutes of the game, Venezuela played themselves in the game and they almost scored. From a really good build-up play, the ball landed nicely to Salomon Rondon, but he was unable to get it past Pedro Gallesi, who pulled off a really good reflex save with his leg. And after that chance, Venezuela continued to press, and they looked like the team to most likely score first, but they didn't. At the back end of the first half, there were 2 half chances from both teams, but none of them ended up in the back of the net. The goalkeepers did what they had to do. And I think in this game, the goalkeepers were the hero. They were the real heroes in this game. because they kept the balls out the back of their nets. The game started quite routinely in the second half. Venezuela had an early chance, but Solomon Rondon put it wide, and around the 65th minute, Peru broke away and Jefferson Farfan headed the ball into the back of the net from a cross, but it was deemed to be offside, and with the VAR check, it proved that it was the right decision. So VAR to Venezuela's rescue again. Venezuela created a chance when Johan Murillo went forward, but his shot was hit straight to Pedro Galesi. And a few minutes later, disaster struck for Venezuela. They thought their ship had sunk when Mago's foul and Andy Poyo resulted in him being showed a second yellow, and he was sent off. So Venezuela was on the back foot, and a minute later or so they almost conceded a goal, and if it wasn't for their brilliant young keeper Wilkin Farinez, they would have gone 1-0 down. Machis, Soteldo and Hernandez proved to be three very good substitutions for Venezuela because they never looked like they were on the back foot. They never looked like they were playing with 10 men. They kept the energy high and they continued to trouble Peru. The two teams continued to battle it out until the full-time whistle. There weren't any more clear chances to score, and it ended in a 0-0 draw. And at the end, I think Venezuela will be the happier team with 1 point because you have Brazil and Bolivia in this group. Venezuela will fancy themselves to pick up 3 points versus Bolivia. Peru will definitely back themselves to also pick up 3 points versus Bolivia. But they know when they play Brazil, the likelihood of them picking up 3 points is very slim. So they will want to get as many points as possible versus Bolivia or against each other. And Peru will be walking away the more aggrieved team here. The next group of matches will be played on Tuesday, June 18th, where we see Bolivia taking on Peru and the host Brazil taking on Venezuela. I will give you my predictions for those matches when I do my review for Monday's fixtures. So at the end of the first Group A matches, we have Brazil on top the group with 3 points, Peru second 1 point, Venezuela third 1 point, and Bolivia at the bottom without a point. Remember, the winners and the runners-up of each group qualify for the quarterfinals along with the best third place team. So Venezuela would want to put out their best performance versus Brazil and keep things to a minimal. Like, they don't want to concede a lot of goals versus Brazil. So guys, let's move on to the first Group B fixture of the 2019 Copa America, and it was a big one. It was a big one and it delivered. The one between Argentina and Colombia. Oh my God. What a game that was. That was an enjoyable game. That was a really enjoyable game with an unexpected result. We did not expect this result, and this result will be making headlines all across the world. Colombia 2, Argentina 0. An Argentina team with Lionel Messi in it, 0 against Colombia, a team who has not defeated them since 2007. It's ridiculous. And before that, their last victory before 2007 was in 2004, and before that 1999. It is ridiculous. But Colombia came out today and they played their hearts out under their new boss Carlos Queiroz, and they pulled off a remarkable 2-0 victory. Congratulations to Colombia, man. I did not predict them to win this game. I predicted Argentina to win the game 2-1. But I can remember I made early predictions, and my first predictions was Colombia topping this group. No lying at all. I predicted Colombia to top this group. And then I went back and did over my predictions and predicted Argentina to top the group. But we don't know who's going to top the group yet. We really don't know. We have Paraguay and Qatar, the other two teams in the group, and we don't know what they are going to do when they come up versus Colombia and Argentina. But right now, Colombia are looking good to top this group, man. Beating Argentina, that's a big feat. That is a big feat. And we saw how the Colombians celebrated. We had a goal by Roger Martinez. That was a brilliant goal, cutting in from the left flank after he was given the ball by James Rodriguez. He was isolated over there. He was left alone and he worked his magic to beat Franco Armani in goal. The other goal, man, it was really good. It was good. Argentina was caught out on the counter-attack, And the build-up play was remarkable, man. When he had Jefferson Lerma overlapping and then crossing in, and then Duvan Zapata, who had a brilliant, remarkable season with Atalanta, putting them into the Champions League. He tapped it in for the second goal. He celebrated by taking off his shirt, picked up a yellow card, but he does not care. That's a big goal for a striker who is in form. And I'm really glad that they called up people like Duvan Zapata, who is in form, and not go back to like a Carlos Bacca. But let's break down this game a little. Let's talk about lineups and stats and all that good stuff. Let's do that. For Lionel Scaloni, he chose to go in with a 4-4-2 formation with Franco Armani in goal, taking over from Sergio Romero. That was a big shock as well. We had Saravia at right back. He was torn to pieces by the Colombian players. Nico Tagliafico in left back. He didn't play too bad. Nico Otamendi, man, he is just getting slower and slower. And he's a Man City player. I'm a Man City fan, but he is not at his best. Definitely not. We had Petzela. I don't even know who this guy is. Then we had Giovanni Lo Celso. Guido Rodriguez. Don't know that player as well. Leandro Paredes. He plays for PSG. He's a very, very talented player. He was one of their best players today, and they did not play that well. Di Maria, man. It seems like Di Maria didn't even play this game. Lionel Messi, he was well dealt with, well roughed up by the Colombians. We know how rough the Colombians can play. And Sergio Aguero, who was not given any service, to be fair. He wasn't given any service for him to work his magic. Whenever he had the ball, he was closed down very, very quickly. So, well done to Colombia, man. Who Carlos Queiroz, he chose to go in with David Ospina. He's been there as their number one goalkeeper for a while. We had Medina at right back, Tecillo at left back. And I'm not familiar with these two players, and it just shows how much depth Colombia has. We had Davinson Sanchez and Yerry Mina as center back. We know these players. These players play in the Premier League for big clubs. Then we had Vilmar Barrios in the middle of the field, man. Defensive midfielder who plays his football in Russia. I think it's with Zenit St. Petersburg. Don't quote me on that. But he was absolutely amazing today, man. He was even linked to Man City one time. We had Uribe, who's been around. He was at the World Cup. Juan Cuadrado, who did not have his best game, and he had to get taken off before he picked up a second yellow and get a red card. So he had to be taken off. He was replaced by Lerma, who played really well when he came on. And then we had James Rodriguez, who was given the authority to roam all over the field, and he was brilliant today. The old fox Radamel Falcao did not have the best of games, but he played his role, held up play when he could, threatened as well, but he did not have the greatest of games. And Luis Muriel, who had to go off early, and he was replaced by Roger Martinez, who proved to be today's man of the match. Definitely, he was a live wire over there on the left winger. He definitely tormented Saravia. Who the hell is Saravia, by the way? Really, I'd never heard of this guy. So, team selection, man, the squad selection, very, very, very poor for Argentina. We had guys like Pereira on the bench. We had Dybala, who couldn't even get a sniff. Lautaro Martinez, who had a decent season with Inter, couldn't get a sniff on the field. Instead, Scaloni chose to bring on Suarez, Depau. Depau looked decent. He had a good season in Serie A as well. And Pizarro, who plays his football in the Mexican League, came on. So it was just poor football by Argentina today. It was poor. The first half, I didn't even write notes down for this game. The stats: 13 shots by Argentina, 6 on target, 54% possession, 473 passes with an 83% pass completion, 13 fouls, 3 yellow cards. So Colombia, they had 4 yellow cards. It was a feisty game. It was a high-octane game. The two teams were helter-skelter from beginning to end. It was physical. It was dirty. And we know how the Colombians play. For Colombia, they completed 82% of 404 passes. They had a 46% possession in the game and 8 shots at goal. 2 went into the back of the net. Those were the only 2 shots on target. The only 2 shots that meant anything in the end because they won the game 2-0. Carlos Queiroz, man, his genius is coming to the fore here. his genius is coming to the fore. He is a defensive type manager. He sets up his team very defensively, and it showed in this game. With Mina, his height, Davinson Sanchez, his height, and the two fullbacks who I don't know much about, but they were really, really good today. Vilmar Barrios. This kid is good. This kid is good. Look out for bigger things from Vilmar Barrios in the future. He handled Messi and company very, very well in the midfield. Roughed them up. Cuadrado as well. The Colombians play a rough brand of football. They are strong, they are fast, very, very physical, and if you can't match them with that game, you're gonna pay. You are gonna pay in the end. Argentina's approach early on in the game was so wrong. They were trying long balls. They were trying long balls down to Aguero. They couldn't play the ball out from the back. Whenever they tried to do so, Colombia just broke up the play in the middle of the field. Whenever they tried to put it long, Yeremina, Davinson Sanchez just won the first ball. So they had no idea what they were doing. In the first half, it ended 0-0. Both teams weren't that great, to be honest, but Argentina were bad in the first half. They were so bad that they made Colombia look good when they weren't even playing that good. If you understand what I'm saying. The two teams were just kicking each other in the first half. There weren't any smooth build-up play. The ball wasn't kept for long periods of time. Goalkeepers weren't really threatened. But Colombia were the better team in the first half. And then, the second half, Argentina came out looking really good. They came out looking good, to be completely honest. And at that moment, I was like, listen, man, it seems like Argentina are going to get their act together. They're going to stitch together some good passes, and they're going to breach this Colombian defense. But, were we wrong? Were we wrong? Lionel Messi, he was closed down, man. He was well dealt with in this game. He hardly had a shot off. He could hardly work his magic. Whenever he had the ball, the Colombians roughed him up. They roughed him up. It was 3-4 of them on Lionel Messi at any given time. And I think they studied him and they implemented what they learned and they came out victors in the end. They really did. When Colombia scored that goal, it was against the run of play. Argentina were the better team at that time and point in the game. They had played themselves back into the match and they looked like they were the most likely team to score first. But with them pushing Colombia back into their own defense and leaving themselves open in the back, Colombia took advantage of that. James Rodriguez with a really nice diagonal ball to find Roger Martinez open on the left flank. And this kid is fast. This kid is fast. He can dribble. He cut in and he kicked it with his right foot past Franco Armani. And the power he got behind that is reminiscent of Everton's goal versus Bolivia. Two very, very good goals by two very, very good young players. I bet he's going to show up on the radar of some bigger clubs now. So with Roger Martinez scoring that first goal, Colombia going 1-0 up, Argentina had to reply and they didn't have any reply. They did not have any reply at all. They conceded against the runner play again. It was another counter-attack and it was a really fast build-up play by the Colombians, and I really like the overlapping run by Jefferson. Lerma, he collected the ball and he passed it in Duvan Zapata in the back of the net, celebrating like a madman. He received a yellow card, but it doesn't matter. 2-0. And at that point, I knew Argentina was doomed, and they might be doomed at the tournament. Definitely might be the end of Argentina at the tournament. But with Lionel Messi in the team, we know what they can do. We saw what happened at the World Cup. After picking up a draw versus Iceland, losing to Croatia, when they needed a win in the final game versus Nigeria, they did so. So we could see a similar scenario at the 2019 Copa America. But they don't want to leave it till late. They don't want to make it come down to that at all, because if they play second in this group, they will play the first place team from Group A, who is most likely going to be Brazil. Colombia will take on the Asian champions Qatar on Wednesday the 18th of June, while Argentina will take on Paraguay on the exact same day. I will give my predictions for those matches on Tuesday. So my predictions for tomorrow's games, we have Paraguay versus Qatar, the other two teams in Group B. This one is really tricky to predict because Qatar is a good team, a really good team. They won the 2019 Asian Cup. Paraguay, they are on South American soil, so they're not going to be pushovers. This one is hard. But you know what, guys? You know what? Even though I did not predict Qatar to get out of this group, I'm going to go for a draw here. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this fixture to set up Group B really nicely. So Argentina will go down to the bottom of the group. For the other fixture, Uruguay versus Ecuador in Group C. We also have Japan and Chile in Group C. They will not play tomorrow. They will play on Monday. I'm going to go for a Uruguay win over Ecuador. I'm going to say a 3-0, a convincing 3-0 victory for Uruguay. Guys, let me know your predictions in the comment section down below for those fixtures. So guys, that brings it to an end of day 2 of my 2019 Copa America coverage, where we saw Colombia defeating Argentina 2-0, and we witnessed a 0-0 draw between Peru and Venezuela. Will tomorrow promise even better matches? I hope so. I hope so. If you're new around here, guys, consider hitting the subscribe button, leave a fat like on the video, and in the comment section down below, let me know if you still think Lionel Messi can win a major international tournament with Argentina, like the Copa America. There will be one this year and one next year. So until tomorrow, guys, I'd like to say thanks for watching. Peace out. Rich Squad.